mean, you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, claps all around for episode 86. 86. We're feeling good about it. Now, obviously, we had our issues last week, but we're back. Well, without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc. And all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, with his son and his wife as well, Paul Volt, Shield. What's going on, Shield, and Volt as well?
Oh, you know what? We're just living the dream here in northern Minnesota just because the fact that we've got lots to get to, and hopefully we can get through a whole show too. So we're looking forward to a whole lot of that, and hopefully we don't have to use too many of these tonight to get through the show, and or vice versa as well. We got a lot of these pent up over the last couple of weeks.
We really have with our Minnesota sports teams, with the internet that we have here. Yes, there was a technician that was here. We're hoping, and the thing is I can't promise anything, but let's all pray to the internet gods to make sure that we can get through this show without any interruption from the internet provider. But knock on wood. If you have wood around you, you knock on wood. But anyway, Voldy, before we get into Tater Tot Hot Take, because right now, most Minnesota teams have kind of been Loserville, which we'll talk about. Boo, exactly. We'll talk about that for Tater Tot Hot Take, but we got Voldy's Virtues tonight as well. Voldy, you're talking a little bit about some MLB. You talked about Buster Posey last week with me, and if Buster gets in, Joe gets in, watch out. I think we've got some controversy with it because the zoners have been chatting, man. Zoners have been chatting a little bit. So anyway, we haven't done a leaderboard in a little bit. So let's get to the MinneZona Pick'em leaderboard for this week. Here we go. This is what we got. Jack Vickers is leading the way with 93 points, but not far behind is one. DJ Vold, 89 as well. Mikey Ryan, 88. And then Shield, Voldy, he's back. He's ready to roll. He is 88 as well. Yours truly at 87. And Jory Kunzman, right, if I'm saying that right. Joe Service as well, hanging in there, 87. Matt Johnson, my guy Matt Johnson, 87. Ryan Coolcomb, 87. And Matt Metzler at 86. Those guys seem familiar. I guess we'll see what happens. But anyway, things are looking pretty good right about now. Looks like we lost Shield for a second there, so I guess we're off to a good start. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. So the leaderboard's coming through A-OK. The big news is that we're going to do a giveaway. We're doing giveaways here, people. MZ MinneZona, I love it. Let's go. So we got stickers. It's going to be Dealer's Choice this week. So make sure you tune in for that. But the good news is that that's what we got. So we're moving along. We're doing fine. Voldy, welcome back. We're back at it again. You got me, Shield?
Yeah, I got you. I don't know what happened there, but something must have happened.
I don't know what happened. That's the big thing. But you're back. You're ready to roll. We'll get going with some Tater Tot Hot Take. So let's get it going.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Exactly.
All right, Voldy is back with us, and it's time for some Tater Tot hot take. Shield. I hate doing this, man.
Yep.
Losersville, Minnesota, the Vikings, the Gophers, the Timberwolves are like on a 5-game losing streak. Yep, Case, I hear you, man. I hear you. Not good. Losersville. Voldy, we'll start off with the Minnesota Vikings, and obviously we are going to quick chat about the instance that happened with one chef, Dalvin Cook, as well. But Voldy, I kind of looked at this game knowing that the Vikings were probably going to lose, okay? But at the same time, I was thinking, well, they can make a game out of it. And they did. They were leading. They were kicking butt. Now, that's not what happened. They end up losing the game and whatnot. But, Voldy, I mean, just kind of put everything in a nutshell here with this Vikings loss. It's, again, another heartbreaker. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings, before the offense or defense could step on the field for the second half, they're up 24-10. It's completely crazy. Just the fact that you get a kickoff return touchdown with which is more of a rarity nowadays than ever has been. You can't make a 14-point lead stand up when your defense was shutting down Lamar Jackson. That's something not even the best defense in the NFL can say this year. Although he's had a couple of holes in his game as of late, he was a little amped up. He was missing throws and, forcing turnovers, getting him out, keeping him contained in the pocket was one thing that even with the likes of Danielle Hunter being out, the Vikings were able to get to him a little bit and obviously, speed up his clock a little bit and force him to make some bad throws here and there. But looking at it as well, I mean, you can't make a 24-10 lead stand up. Both sides of the ball did let, the Ravens back into the game as well. Offense really slowed down in the second half as opposed to how things kind of started off. Getting Justin Jefferson involved early was a great start to that, but even after the fact that, he gets that opening series touchdown, it just wasn't quite enough for them to be able to get, anything really going in that second half for them. And ultimately, getting the tying score near the end, that's awesome. But, if you can't take advantage of a turnover in overtime with that Anthony Barr interception and then take it for at least a shot at a field goal, they were, 20 yards away from even getting the long from, Greg Joseph to at least attempt a field goal. You can't even do that. I mean, again, no business being in that football game, but, obviously an overtime loss. Unfortunately, you don't get credit for that like we're in any other sport with, maybe getting a point out of it if this was the NHL or something. An overtime loss is still a loss, but it was just sad to see that, having that ability in a game where, they just looked like they just went out and just played the game. They knew they were probably going to lose, but played loose, played right through it, gave their team a chance and couldn't cash in. Yeah. And now there is a mighty sharper axe waiting to fall on the head of a lot of coaches and a lot of different people in that Vikings office too.
Everything you said is pretty much what was on my mind too. This probably was the case right now. We love it. But for one, Voldy and Zoners, when you have an opportunity, when the Vikings got the turnovers that they got, so one, Cam Bynum, great first career start. Very impressed by what he did. Now, obviously, I don't have the tape to say, A+, great, But, hey, if you're getting turnovers, especially on Lamar Jackson, things are looking pretty good for you. So, Cam Bynum was fantastic, especially learning the fact that Harrison Smith, was going to be out that game, the day of the game. So there was that with COVID and whatnot. And then it's, your defense is almost depleted at that point. No Pat Pete, no Michael Pierce. Again, this could have been a big revenge game for Michael Pierce.
No Danielle,
out for the season and whatnot. Yep. So there's a lot to talk about with that. I want to talk about us not capitalizing off the Cam. I think the Cam Bynum turnover was just a field goal.
Yep.
Okay. You know, you get points out of it, but I'd rather get touchdowns. You need to dagger teams. Now, play calling, again, suspect. Very suspect. I would say kind of towards the second half. I thought the first half was pretty good, generally.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the interception with Cam Bynum, I think with kicking the field goal there, you know, it is what it is. But it was more in the second half. But you said it. The interception that Barr had, we needed to go down and score. We did not.
Mm-hmm.
We did not. We did not execute. But also it was kind of bad play calling. I'm sorry. I understand that you want to run the ball with Dalvin. I get that. I get it. But there are times when you need, and I said this, was it last week? I said last week, you need to utilize the weapons that you have with Jefferson and Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, some people will contend and say, well, Kirk Cousins missed a couple throws. I saw it on the Twitter sphere. He missed an open guy here. He missed an open guy there. This. Okay, you can throw some blame on Kirk on that. Sure, okay. But also at the same time, you got to give him the plays to look out for those guys too. And it comes down to Kubiak. It comes down to Zim. Guys, we need to stretch the field. Jefferson, I love Case. Jefferson comes down and gets a 50-yard touchdown. Then after that, where was he? You know, I mean, we got to feature these guys, especially against the worst pass defense in the NFL. The worst. They're 32nd at that time. So there's that, and then the defense got worn out. We understand that too, but again, we got to be able to capitalize, and they were not able to capitalize. Lamar goes down the field, scores. He had over 100 yards rushing. He had I think it was over 300 passing, if I'm not mistaken. But he threw 2 picks, and we didn't capitalize off those picks, and we went 3 and out after the Barr interception. So it's not good. It's not good. We're not happy about it, but at the same time, I wasn't, really pissed because I'm like, shoot, this has been happening all season. So we could have gotten roasted. Yeah, I mean, we really could have. We punched them in the mouth. We punched them in the mouth. That was the big thing. We went and punched them in the mouth, and then guess what? After that, they came back. You let them back into it. Lamar does his thing, and then we paid for it. Because if you have a tie game and you are going against the Baltimore Ravens and they get in field goal range, it's almost automatic. It's almost automatic every time. So, but shout out to Kene Nwangu. I do want to say that. What a kick return. Wow.
Yeah,
he was
dude.
fast,
Seriously.
man. That's why they held on to it. They're like, man, we really like him, really like him. Let's utilize him in the offense. Why not? I don't see why not. I think it'd be fantastic. So that's just my opinion on that. But
then they have that fake punt too,
the
which
fake
he
punt,
ran too. So
you're right. The fake punt
got the first down.
Got the first down.
Huge play there
That's
too.
the aggressiveness I want to see with this coaching staff and Zim. It's exactly what I want to see. There was some improvement in that aspect, but there's more to improve on that. Just my humble opinion. Okay, so anyway, with that being said, the Vikings take on Los Angeles next week. We won't give a prediction on that because we got other stuff we got to go with. But easy say, where has the special teams been all year? Well, you just found out with Kene Nwang. That's why they're waiting for Kene to come back, and he comes back and he takes one to the house, baby. Let's go. So that we're feeling good about it. Okay, let's get to the big news that was last night. Dalvin Cook. And it was very, I'll say this, it was very confusing because all of a sudden Schefter's tweeting, hey, or saying, listen, Dalvin has his agent or something, no, his lawyer, his attorney, excuse me. His attorney came out and said that he is that he's been accused in a lawsuit for false or for domestic violence and things like that, and obviously anything involving that, not good. So first that tweet comes out from Schefter from his camp, and then from the woman's camp, the former girlfriend, she filed the lawsuit on Tuesday to Dakota County, literally where my parents are from too. But so she files a lawsuit. There's tweets going back and forth. This is a he said she said thing, Voldy. So I know we can't really give an opinion on, and the thing is we still don't know what's going on. Like, that's the question. And Dalvin has a press conference had a press conference today saying, I'm innocent and the truth will come to light on this situation. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding this. So, Voldy, what are your thoughts on this whole thing that happened last night?
Like, reading the article that, is on that we have here to look at too. I mean, there again, it's a lot of he said, she said. We give our opinion on what it could be, but we don't know the whole story. Given one side of the angle compared to the other, this is a sticky situation, unfortunately, for everybody involved currently. And, it's just always funny how stuff like this always comes up at very inopportune times for a lot of different reasons as well. But, you can't, unfortunately, when stuff like this comes up, you can't control when it does and when it doesn't. And, I just hope that whatever happens out of the situation that, the truth is said and, both sides, unfortunately, a truthful resolve and a, decision is made, and it's the right one as well. So,
right. That's what I think as well. We can't really give a full-fledged answer on this because there's still information coming out. We're seeing that Dalvin had a direct message, was DMing his former girlfriend, indicating that what went down, saying, listen, and then saying her face was, seeing the scars, the bruises and everything like that. So one side pretty much says, so Dalvin's side is saying, listen, she came in unannounced into the home and started, raising hell. According to the camp, this is not what I'm saying. This is what they've been saying, okay? And she came in, she attacked Dalvin and whoever he was with or whoever as well. And after that, Dalvin was doing things in self-defense, which his attorney said to Shefty. And then the other side, his former girlfriend, is saying that he intentionally struck her after she wanted to get her stuff and leave because they were going to they broke up or something. It's on and off again relationship. It's just I think it's just a toxic relationship from what I'm understanding at this point. And he intentionally struck her, held her against her will, false imprisonment, things like that. So we can't really give a opinion on it because we don't know. There's still things that need to come out, but it seems like Dalvin Cook will be playing Sunday. So there's that. Not saying that's positive or anything like that. But we just want the truth, and Dalvin thinks that the truth will come out and it will be more understandable and whatnot. And this is a civil suit, so no one's getting felonies or anything like that. So, we'll keep monitoring it and go from there. So, anyway, just wanted to do that tidbit. But let's move on to the other losers this week. Voldy, the Golden Gophers. I knew this was a trap game from the beginning.
It's a trap!
And you knew it was a trap game from the beginning, too. The ugly loss for the Golden Gophers. You lost to the Fighting Illini. They were 3-6 at the time, but
whoop-de-doo.
You lost 14-6. Voldy, your thoughts on Losersville and in Huntington Bank Stadium?
I just knew that there's no way that two good things were going to happen to the Golden Gophers in the same week, with them being ranked number 20 in the college football playoff poll and get a win against Illinois. It was going to be one or the other. And unfortunately, I would have taken the win over Illinois, both of them, compared to, being ranked in the top 25. Again, this was a trap game from the very beginning. just like against Bowling Green. If you can't take advantage and get your offense going right and early, it's going to be a long day. And unfortunately, that's what just kept happening. I told myself I wasn't going to watch this game, and lo and behold, I didn't, and it didn't work out regardless as well. I mean, they had their troubles protecting Tanner Morgan, and that's the main thing. You give him time, he's going to make plays to his receivers and play action and everything. And unfortunately, that didn't work out, giving up 6 sacks while allowing, Illinois' defensive front to get Tanner Morgan out of the pocket, which is unfortunately not his strongest suit. And, him being flushed out of the pocket, being sacked, that's not going to give those wide receivers any credit to do anything. And if you can't convert and move the ball on third down too, again, that's not going to help you out, especially being 3 of 13 on third down, and also, getting yourself behind schedule. And, very reminiscent of what the Vikings were a couple weeks ago. Okay, let's run it on, let's throw it on first down, get a 2-yard gain on second down. Well, congrats. Now you're at 3rd and 8 from your own 20 or something like that, where it's just not helping yourself out in the long run. And lo and behold, what does it always come down to as well? Well, kicking. And unfortunately, the Gophers left a lot of points on the board in that regard too. Losing to Illinois like it was, it was a trap game, and I knew this was going to happen leading up to the game against Iowa. I think maybe the Gophers were looking 1 week ahead and thought, oh yeah, we'll just steamroll Illinois and just be done with it. Who did take Penn State to 9 overtimes. 9 overtimes, and they're still under 500, which is sad because, when they played Penn State, Penn State was in the top 5, I think, or they were like one of the top teams in the nation, and they beat them in 9 overtimes. It was still like 20-15 or 20-16 or something like that. And this was just an ugly game, and it's not going to look too good. And especially if the Gophers go up against Iowa and get steamrolled against the Hawkeyes, because that's just going to be a long way. Me personally, I already have the Gophers losing to Iowa and Wisconsin. I just don't see it happening this year, but I want to be proven wrong in that regard. But looking at this Illinois game, it was bad. It was a trap game, and unfortunately, now they got to try and pick it up here against Iowa this week.
Against Iowa, I think it's at Iowa, if I'm not
mistaken.
Even
better.
Yeah.
Great. At Iowa.
At Iowa.
Yikes.
So there's that to factor in. You can blame offensive line. Yeah, they struggled. A couple holding penalties, 6 sacks, I think it was.
Yep.
You can throw that out there. They're more of a run-blocking team. That's what they were built for, relying on the run. I get why you want to run the ball. And this is almost similar to the Vikings, too. I get why you want to run the ball. And, yeah, you have a plethora of running backs, apparently. And you've been able to do it so well. But I will say this. Tanner Morgan, way too inconsistent. Way too inconsistent. There are times when he makes decisions and you literally scratch your head and think, what the hell are you doing? Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great leader, but the thing is, he has to back up his play. And he hasn't done that. 15 of 27, 180 passing yards, 2 interceptions. Okay? And they're boneheaded decisions, too. So you have to be able to pass the ball. Okay? I get in 2019 you had a plethora of weapons, you had the right team and whatnot. You have receivers that can get you Ottman Bell right. There are plenty of weapons you can use here. He needs to lead by example. I personally, and I disagree with Fleck on this, but I think they should look at another guy at quarterback. I really do, because maybe things would change. Maybe you could see some, development with some of these other quarterbacks like Kramer, like Annexstad. Annexstad, I'm not fully sold on, but again, I'm not. This happens when, you can't lose to Bowling Green and not be able to pass the freaking ball. Right. Bowling Green, now we're talking about. And then you go to Illinois, a game that you're supposed to win. You have to be ready for that. You can't just come into this game thinking, well, here we go, it bit them in the butt. It bit them in the butt. And, especially after Fleck getting the extension, now people are thinking, was that a good idea now, losing, But, again, it's a game they shouldn't have lost. And I think Tyler made a good point here. Can Minnesota's soccer team even kick? I hope. They got to look at that, too. Matthew Trickett, like you said, missed the field goal attempt and then missed the PAT off their lone touchdown. So, defensively, I think the Gophers played pretty well after the first two possessions. But Brett Belima, he's 8-0 against the Gophers now.
Yeah, because he used to take it to the Gophers when he had all those studs at Wisconsin.
Yeah,
we're talking the days,
Illinois.
I mean, he was the man of Wisconsin. I think he was still head coach when Russell Wilson was there. He had Monty Ball. He had Jonathan Taylor. He had the whole James White. James White when he was there. You could
go,
too.
Yeah.
You could go all day. Nick Toon back in the day. Jared Abradaris. Those guys. I mean, those guys were the studs back in the day too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God,
Crazy. Well, anyway, our last team, and we'll promise we'll go quick, and then we'll get to Voldy's virtues here. But Voldy, the Wolves, 5-game losing streak.
Man.
It's not surprising.
Nope.
I think, to say the least. It's frustrating because you want to see this team do well. And their next couple games, Golden State, Lakers, Clippers, it's not looking good. So they lose to the Nuggets. A game they shouldn't have lost is against the Magic, but they've been terrible in the fourth quarter. I mean, guys, scoring left and right, especially, and again, we got to get everybody involved. It seems like Cat is up and down. Defensively, there still needs to be some work, but they were pissed after a loss. I'd be pissed right now. Let's get it. Let's turn this around. But and D'Lo, people are getting fed up with D'Lo now, which is kind of surprising to me too. But there's D'Lo. Cat needs to get going defensively, but it's frustrating. I got to see more from Ant. You got to see more from everybody, but they got to fix this fourth quarter stuff because it's catching up to them. Because they started off good, but now they're not doing Jack, you know what now. So, Voldy, your a couple quick thoughts on your a couple quick thoughts from you on the Timberwolves.
Well, I mean, when you're giving up 40-point quarters in the second half against, when you're up by however much the Timberwolves have been up by in those games and then end up losing by 15, 20. That's not a real confidence boost. Cat continues to stay the course right now, even though he knows it sucks. And, not getting a whole lot out of D'Lo is very frustrating, especially when you brought him in to be a guy that's going to help facilitate on both sides. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot of Pat Bev. I don't know if he's healthy or if he's just not producing, but I mean, when you're giving up 40-point quarters, that means the defense isn't helping, and he was supposed to be a defensive guy to come in. I mean, I just saw earlier today that they're going to be bringing up their stud prospect Balmaro, I think, out of the Iowa club down there with the G League, I think it is nowadays. But I don't know. I mean, am I surprised? No. But, you would think with a team leading by 20 points and then giving up a 40-point quarter, on multiple occasions in the last handful of games, that's not a real confidence boost, and hopefully they can start turning things around. Otherwise, again, it's going to be a long season.
And now we got Mets chiming in here, and
oh boy,
Wolves must be taking the Mike Zimmer approach to second halves.
Nice.
Just playing it safe when you should be playing to win. I think that's what he was meaning there. But I agree with you, Voldy. I mean, it comes down to what these guys can do, and I think Cat needs to keep trying to take that leadership role. And I don't think he has at this point. So I'm challenging Cat. Come on, let's get it going here. Let's lead by example. Let's do this thing, okay? I believe that he can do it. It's just you got to get to that point. So hopefully Ant can get stuff. And then the bench guys, too. I mean, I'm not hearing a lot from the bench. And Malik Beasley is playing pretty well, maybe put him in the starting lineup a little bit. I don't know. Just a thought. So we'll see, but the Wolves are the Wolves. Loserville has been there for a while, so
Yep.
we'll put it like that. Anyway, Voldy. Voldy's Virtues. It's been a while. It's been a while for Voldy's Virtues. Tonight, you're talking about Buster Posey. You're talking about Joe Mauer. And if Buster gets in, does that mean Joe gets in? So let's head to the Temple of Wisdom, and let's see what Voldy thinks here.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's Virtues.
All right, Shield, why don't you enlighten us tonight? What do you have?
Well, absolutely. Well, first off, just want to say here, I'm not going to try and do anything outlandish or outspoken about either of these two gentlemen. Obviously, with two fantastic careers that they've contributed to their respective franchises, one seeing maybe just a titch more towards the winning side of things, but both left an impact that will be greatly missed from the teams currently as well. Of course, last week it was announced that Buster Posey, citing injury and also family as well, that he did announce his retirement from baseball, finishing his entire career in the short term in his time with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, he did come into the league in 2010, winning the Rookie of the Year honors, and then also was a member of the World Series champion San Francisco Giants. Went on to win MVP. Also won a World Series that same year as well. 2014 wins a World Series too. 3-time World Series champion, MVP, obviously coming back from a gruesome injury in his career, but an indelible mark on the franchise that was going in a very different direction from the days of yore, led by the likes of Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, and all the crew down in the San Francisco Bay. Now, if you have heard this story before, stop me if you've heard it as well. Not only known for his bat, Buster Posey did do a lot of work behind the plate, obviously in a position that deserves a lot of attention in catching. In his career, obviously a .995 fielding percentage, 1,093 games catching, and 9,291 in the third innings caught behind the plate. In that entire span, only 27 credited pass balls in his time behind the plate, and also above league average in his career in caught stealing. Where the league average was 27%, he threw out runners 1 out of every 3 times. And those numbers don't scream out as the best, but you know what? In a game where you could be a Hall of Famer by not getting a hit 7 out of 10 times, and you'll be in the Hall of Fame with that. Now, speaking of this Hall of Fame resume to go along for Buster Posey, of course, and the comparison that you look at with one Joe Mauer, you look at it from this perspective. The catalyst being that when Buster Posey came in the league, obviously the team was in need of something, a little bit of a fresh start. Well, that did come for Buster Posey and winning, the 3 World Series in 5 years. There was a stretch where if it was an even year, the San Francisco Giants were going to win a World Series at some point. Handling a pitching staff, a lot of arms that come out in that time, caught some no-hitters, caught some perfect games, a lot of action behind the plate as well. Multiple positions, also playing at first base at times, maybe when he needed a day off as well, or even at the DH. And coming back from that gruesome injury in 2013 when he got hurt, and then ended up going as the MVP the following year he got hurt in 2011, won the MVP the following year in 2012, and also winning World Series at the same time. Finished with a .305 batting average in this past season alone, and the only catcher to do that to finish off his last season. So looking at those numbers, the entire resume where you throw in Silver Sluggers, All-Stars, World Series championships, and also a Gold Glover, those numbers, especially being a champion in a position that demands a lot of effort out of there, you can definitely say Buster Posey, without a doubt, is a Hall of Famer. Now, on the other side, and I stated right away, look, Joe Mauer wasn't my cup of tea, but you know what? He did it for a lot of people, and you know what? Good for him. The numbers, they do speak for themselves. Now, stop me if you've heard these numbers before for Joe Mauer. .995 fielding percentage, 921 games behind the plate, 33% caught stealing. I feel like I'm getting deja vu right now at some point. A little bit higher on the pass balls, but when Joe Mauer's 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Yeah, you're going to get a few of those here and there. Finishing career, MVP, 3-time Gold Glover, 5-time Silver Slugger, 306 career batting average. I feel like those numbers are starting to run together. 1,018 runs scored, 923 RBIs, and 143 career home runs. The World Series aren't there, but looking at the way this career did start off, Joe Mauer was coming up at a time where maybe the Twins needed something. Fledgling team needed some sort of direction. Hey, let's bring up this kid Mauer, see what he can do. No catcher has ever won 3 batting titles. He did it. 2006, 2008, 2009. In 2009, that year, was the MVP and helped solidify his spot with the Twins, obviously, with, the Twins leaving the Metrodome, going to Target Field, and being, the team that eventually went from a franchise that was more just happy to win some games here and there to competing, obviously, for a Central Division championship, making the postseason. Because, he came up in 2003, 2004?
Mauer,
I think, or something like that. What am I even saying? I got the baseball reference right in front of me here. If I just quick refresh here, I want to say it was 2003, 2004. That might have been more Noah thinking about it. 2004, his first year. You go on to that stretch too. It was the MVP season for Morneau in 2006. That stretches well from 2004 all the way to 2010. I mean, the Twins were in it just about in every season there. You throw in one season where maybe, things didn't quite go their way. They end up playing game 163 for about 9 consecutive years, it felt like, as well. And then that whole stretch of time where he was playing 130, 140, sometimes even close to 150 games, all behind the plate, or if not at DH. Those were the years that he was going to be making the most direct impact for the Twins too. Obviously, paving the way at a time where maybe you go from the short, squatty catchers of the Yogi Berras and everything, back in the day, the Johnny Benches, the Carlton Fisk, the Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge Rodriguez, those little shorter, stockier guys, maybe they hit every now and then. Then you get these big, linebacker-looking guys, 6'3", 6'4", behind the plate, squatting down to catch. Some athleticism back there that did, pave the way for a lot of guys. You look at catchers nowadays, some of them are on the bigger size. Matt Wieters is one guy that comes to mention as well, where he was a switch-hitting catcher and on the bigger side too. But there's one thing about this comparison between Buster Posey and Joe Mauer you look at, and there's one way to measure a player's Hall of Fame worthiness as it averages the career wins above replacement. You know how much I love made-up stats and all that stuff. It's called JAWS. I have no idea what JAWS is, but I saw it in one of the articles we're looking at here. Currently, as it looks, with the 7-year peak wins above replacement for Joe Mauer at the time of his career, Mauer currently has the 7th best JAWS total among catchers that look at Johnny Bench, Gary Carter, Ivan Rodriguez, Carlton Fisk, Mike Piazza, Yogi Berra.
Yep.
All those names sound familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've got plaques in Cooperstown, New York, Mike Piazza being the most recent guy to go into the Hall of Fame. I think Ivan Rodriguez was a year or so before him too. But those are the best catchers in baseball. And to say that Joe Mauer is, just one step behind all those guys, I don't see why he wouldn't be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And looking at it as well, I found it funny, as soon as Buster Posey was announcing his retirement, all these articles and all these comments started coming out. It was like, if he's going to the Hall of Fame, then, Joe Mauer should be. Well, 2018, Joe's got 2 more years before he's eligible for his first ballot. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. May take him a few years, depending on the class that's going to be surrounding him too, and him being a marketable, likable guy among the writers, because that's just the way it goes nowadays with the Hall of Fame, of being the writers choosing who goes in the Hall of Fame. I don't see why you wouldn't put Joe Mauer in the Hall of Fame. So in my mind, Joe Mauer is a for sure Hall of Famer, along with Buster Posey as well.
Wow. Because I correct me if I'm wrong, and you thought at one point you thought not a Hall of Famer, right? Is with Joe Mauer, I'm saying, right?
I didn't say that he wasn't going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, looking at it too, because if they would have been able to at least have one sort of maybe deep postseason run with the Twins or something like that, or a couple, it would have surely helped. But if he would have went to another team, I think obviously it would have been more favorable for him in the grand scheme of everything. But
yeah,
you look at it as well, and the big thing is too, because he was a hitting catcher in a position at a time where catchers weren't expected to be the big bats in the lineup. And he was the big bat in the lineup for a good while, whether it be in that 2 spot, hitting 3rd, 4th, 5th, or whatever, to help protect guys too, and, move around a little bit, maybe driving a few runs here and there, where you got some guys that in that position too were just happy to be in the lineup in the first place and more worried about controlling the pitching staff. But I mean, I didn't say he wasn't going to be Hall of Famer. I just thought that maybe it would take him a lot longer to get in the Hall of Fame than expected. But now that you see guys like Buster Posey starting to hang up the gear too, it definitely drives a little bit more favorability towards the side of Mauer too.
Sure. Yeah, very true. Let's get to some zoners. So we have we got Tyler chiming in here, and then also the post that we put up before the show that we're doing for Virtues. Jack Vickers had some comments. So did Peter Farley. So Tyler says, Mike Trout on the Angels, still one of the greatest players, even though they lose. Yeah, it's very much true. But you mentioned a couple things in there before I get. You mentioned a couple things about, never won a World Series with Mauer, things like that, all that fun stuff. You can thank the poll ads for that. And also, the contract that they gave him to be that guy. And he was. I mean, he was, but you want to see him do more besides hit singles, or just singles, all that fun stuff. But I loved Mauer. I thought he was great. I don't know. Like you said, first ballot Hall of Famer, we'll see. But this is what Jack said on our Facebook here. So on the Books of the Faces, here we go. Or Meta now, apparently.
Yeah.
More on that later. Regardless of whether Posey gets in, no question that Mauer should be in. Over a 300 career average, 3-time batting title winner, career 55.2 WAR. And we know what that is. This is especially insane for a catcher. 9th all-time among catchers, and all the other top 12 are in the Hall of Fame. And 3 Gold Gloves. I'm clearly not biased as his second cousin or anything. There you go. There's a connection there. But Peter says, also, I believe that every other player to spending an entire 15-plus year career with the same team is in the Hall of Fame. So it makes sense that he would be, and I think he will. But first ballot, I think, is going to be tough. The reason why is because I think what the writers are going to look at, well, how many World Series did they? How many times they go to the playoffs? Did they get any playoffs? Well, they didn't get any playoff wins, I can tell you that much. But at the same time, Mauer was a great player. It's just that they kept, they keep losing. It was Losersville for a little bit. There were times he was there when it was 2006 when they won the Central, 2009, 2010 when they won the Central. I mean, they were good, but they weren't good enough because, well, guess who did they have to face? The Yankees. So there's that. But, very interesting. If Posey gets in, I 100% agree with you, Voldy. I think Mauer should get in as well. So just our opinions. Let us know what you guys think, too, in the comments on our Facebooks, social medias. Let us know, because why not? Anyway, great job with Voldy's Virtues. Very enjoyable this week.
Thanks, sir.
And it's time for ARA. Now, last time we tried ARA, we couldn't get it going, but I'm feeling good about it this time. Knock on wood everywhere. But we got some really cool ones. We're going to be still talking Twins. Yeah, there you go. I like it. We'll still talk Twins. Involving your Patriots, OBJ, Jack Eichel. He finally gets traded, and then Paige Buckets, baby. So we'll be chatting about that for ARA. So let's get it going, Voldy, with some. I'm sorry. Oh, approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, you're still here? We're still here? Okay, good. Anyway, so Voldy, let's try this again. Why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Okay, so we're going to try this again here this go around. Well, the Minnesota Twins did make some moves. Maybe not the moves that a lot of people thought were going to be here at the beginning of the week. Noted that the Minnesota Twins did hire ex-San Diego Padres manager Jace Tingler as the new bench coach and a new hitting coach in David Popkins here to start the week. Of course, Tingler does come over from San Diego, who was booted after the 2020 season, especially with a highfalutin group that is the Padres as of late. And Popkins comes from the Class A Great Lakes Loons, the Dodgers affiliate, in high A ball as well. It's a very interesting situation, especially with a lot of question marks maybe surrounding the start of the season and how short the leash is for a one Rocco Baldelli going into the year, and you hire a bench guy that does have some managerial experience as well. Is it absurd or approved? Will these hirings play into the success of the season if and when the Twins decide to make a move if the leash is short on Rocco Baldelli as well?
Well, you heard what I said before about Rocco Baldelli. I think they should let Rocco Baldelli go because I think he stands in the way of a lot of things that they should do. Well, sabermetrics and analytics, stop that. Just stop that right now. Anyway, I could see that. I really could see that. When you have an ex-manager, I think there's some saying, or you think, okay, well, he's got past experience and everything like that, but if something were to happen, I'm just saying, not saying it's going to happen, but it could very well happen. But I wanted to mention another thing here, too. David Popkins. I like that. I really like the ring to it because, and how about that? He's the hitting coach. You need a little pop in your bat. Get it? No, just kidding. Terrible joke. But this, I hope that they're going to play into some success because they need to get the bats back alive. Okay, they need to get back to the Bomba squad. Now, let's not forget that Eddie Rosario just won a World Series with the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
Was he the wrong guy to let go? Maybe. Well, the Twins, like we say, the Twins didn't want to spend money. Not too much money. He just won with the Braves. This is what happens.
By way of Cleveland.
Yeah. And he went to Cleveland, and then Cleveland traded him, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna say absurd. You know why I say absurd is because I don't believe that under this managerial with Baldelli and everything like that, it is not faring well for the team right now. Just the atmosphere that's around, and also how bad the what was it called? Pitching was with the starters, the relievers. We didn't even know who was our closer half the time.
Yep.
So there's that as well. But maybe this Tingler will take over. I don't know, but I think it's absurd just because I've lost a lot of faith, especially from this past season. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it is going to play to the success of the Twins when they fire Rocco Baldelli about 45 games into the season. Because, you got to have a guy with some experience on the bench and a guy like Jace Tingler that's fresh off of it. Look, maybe some guys are just not cut out to be managers. Maybe they're just lifelong assistant bench coach guys. And, some guys have accepted that. There have been multiple instances where, maybe managers that had a couple of seasons here and there that maybe weren't so good, maybe a couple flashes in the pan, but they end up being really good bench coaches. It's worked in a lot of instances. None come to mind right off the top of my head, but Hitting wise, maybe you just got to take a new approach at some way. Maybe bring in a guy who's got a couple of, just a couple of outlandish ways to maybe start getting some things rolling for the Twins too. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. Who knows? It's a long way till we get to pitchers and catchers. Actually, it's a lot sooner than we think. I think it's only 2.5 months away, I think, before pitchers and catchers report. It's like mid-February, I think, or something like that. But yeah, I know it'll be here before we know it. But I mean, I'm looking at it, the situation. Look, it's going to be. I think it's approved in my mind. Okay. I think anything can happen with this team. So
let's hope. But like we say, if you want to improve this team, something's got to come out of the paychecks. Something's got to come out of the pull ad money. But we all know how that turns out. But okay. I like us being different on this. I've lost faith. I really have, and it sucks. But I'm just calling it like it is. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, very interesting play from the last week of the NFL season with New England Patriots rookie quarterback Mac Jones, a.k.a. Mac's Daddies, unfortunately injuring Carolina defensive end Brian Burns on a play Sunday that a lot of people are calling a vicious and dirty play, which came near the end of the first quarter with a strip sack, unfortunately, of Mac Jones, to which then he held the ankle of Burns, thus causing an injury. And while another Carolina player picked up the football and then went further down to the field as well, at the time, Jones was quoted as saying that he was just trying to make a play because he, thought maybe that Burns had the football as opposed to the other guy who was well down the field with the football in the process. And looking at the play itself, people can definitely have their opinions. It's very interesting because of the fact that you hardly see a quarterback in a situation where he goes and unfortunately injures another guy on a play where he was the cause of said play to begin with. Is it absurd or approved that Mac Jones's actions are worth anything more than a possible fine, if not a suspension, causing injury to Brian Burns for the Carolina Panthers?
I did see the play. I didn't watch the game at all because I was watching the travesty that was with the Vikings, but there it is. But I did check it out. It seems like Jones thought he had the ball from what I saw too. I read some of the quotes as well. Hassan Reddick said at first it felt like he was trying to trip or kick Burns. The next thing you know, I saw him tugging on Burns' ankle. I thought it was completely dirty. Hopefully it's something the league addresses. It's tough to say because especially maybe he thought, like I said, I think he thought he had the ball and he didn't realize that. And I don't think he was trying. He was just trying to get him down was what he was thinking. But I get why the Panthers would look at that and say, well, that's dirty. Why is he trying to, twist his ankle and things like that? And he actually limped off. But I don't know if that was the intent. I think Jones said, like I said during the game, no one is out there besides the players. I just thought that's what happened, and I had to make the tackle. So I did what I did in real time, and it is what it is. I think what the league is going to do, they're going to look at the situation, and I think what they're going to do is they're just going to go to Mac Jones and go, slap on the wrist. Yeah. Because I think they're going to fine him because I think that's probably what they're going to. But again, it's tough because I don't know if he intended to do that. It didn't seem like it, but it looks dirty to be honest with you. But again, I mean, what are you going to do? You turn over the ball, you want to make sure you tackle the guy, but it seems like it was maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know. It's kind of, well, the Panthers thought this. Mac Jones intended on trying to tackle him. I don't know. Seems kind of weird to me. But I think the league's going to slap him with a little bit of a fine, and I think that's going to be the end of it. I can't see that being a suspension. I really can't. But there's a lot of questionable things the NFL has done regarding punishments. So there's that. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I think it's definitely worth maybe a fine, if anything. But the fact that the league hasn't come out with anything as of yet, before the week is even getting started for this upcoming week of NFL games too, tomorrow night, I find that very interesting. I thought we definitely would have heard something by now. Probably coming down Thursday afternoon if there is going to be a ruling of any kind. But as long as there hasn't been a suspension noted of yet, that's probably more towards the favor of the Patriots, knowing that there isn't going to be a suspension, maybe more of just a fine in the process. It's a bang play. I think what might have happened too, because obviously he gets hit, he goes down in Mac Jones, and then obviously he's looking for the guy that's going to have the football, and lo and behold, he picked the wrong. He bagged the wrong horse in that one and ended up hurting Brian Burns at the same time too, which is very unfortunate. I would hope the intent wasn't there to go out there and hurt him on that particular play, because you don't know that you're going to get strip sacked and end up turning over the football. But I think if anything, there is going to be, some repercussions financially against him, just to say, hey, you can't do that, just because of the fact that, I'm sure the intent wasn't there, but alas, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. So
yeah, I just think it's just going to be, hey, look, we're going to fine you just because it did look dirty. I don't know. I don't think that was his intent, but I don't know. Well, I guess we won't know, because I don't think anyone's gonna, or I don't think he'll even admit it himself. And he's like, yeah, I was trying to hurt him. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna say that. So, just, but I don't know. The Panthers think differently too. So, we'll see. I think he's getting a fine. That's about it. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, as the sweepstakes for Odell Beckham Jr. services do continue here this afternoon after the Browns did release Odell this past week, and also no waiver claims coming in as of yesterday afternoon. Odell Beckham Jr. is now a free agent to sign wherever he chooses to, and a lot of signs are pointing towards a couple of quality teams in some very interesting situations as well. I think as of the latest reports, Odell is looking at potentially either, the Patriots, Green Bay, or he's highly interested, I should say, Patriots, Green Bay, and I want to say as well, I think New Orleans was in there. The Chiefs,
and the
Chiefs
Aints,
were in that situation. Yeah. The Aints were in there as well, and the Odell Beckham Jr.'s sweepstakes do continue here. Very surprisingly, I thought somebody would have put in a claim for him on Tuesday, if not already some sort of action being made as well, free agent wise here before the start of the show. So plain and simple, where's OBJ going to end up, and will it make a difference here for the rest of the season for that team?
Oh, that's a great question, because, it's tough, because I can see him go to any one of those teams. Unfortunately, Green Bay and the Aints, but let's hope that doesn't happen with either. I could see, and I think if you put Odell Beckham on either the Seahawks or the Chiefs, I think it would jumpstart both these teams. I don't think there's really anything super bad offensively with Seattle. I just think defensively they've really kind of fallen off the map a little bit. Well, really not a little bit. It's not as bad as you think, but it's not LOB at all anymore. But he wants to go to a contender, and again, those teams are up there. Seattle, maybe a little bit of a different story with their record and everything, but I could see that happening. I'm going to say, I think he's going to the Chiefs. The reason why I say the Chiefs is because Tyreek Hill. I think Andy Reid could really take advantage of his ability, and he's been open on multiple occasions. And Baker Mayfield, like I said, I'm not a big Baker guy, and I think Baker has missed him on many throws. Not saying that it's Baker, or not saying that some of it's on OBJ, because he has dropped some easy catches too now. But I could see him in an Andy Reid offense kind of learning the ropes and whatnot, and then breaking out, because I think the Chiefs need a jolt. And, they beat Green Bay, but they weren't dominant. You know,
Nope.
they went in there and beat the team that they should beat. You know, so I'm going to say the Chiefs, Voldy. So I'll go with them. I wouldn't be surprised with the Patriots. Oh, no, I think I know where you're going with this. So, Voldy, what do you think?
There has been a lot here in the last few hours, or at least so far through today, that a lot of indications and maybe some reports of Odell, a strong push towards the Patriots. I would be very surprised by this. I think it could very well end up being in that direction because you look at the way the Patriots have been with, their 97 offensive players, but yet they only have like 3 wide receivers that catch the football, giving a true, number one guy in a situation where, they could make a playoff push. They add a guy like Odell and him being a guy that can stretch the field a little bit in a division that, I'd like to say this too, because the AFC East with Buffalo kind of hanging on here as of late, that division's a little bit more wide open to win this year. Yeah. I'm not going to say the Patriots are going to win the AFC East, but they could definitely make a run here in the later half of this season. I think also being able to have a guy like, a little bit of a pet project too with Odell in a Patriots uniform too will be good for Bill Belichick and get a young quarterback, a true number one wide receiver. They have to deal with a little bit of the drama too, but also seeing some talks and maybe Green Bay looking at him too. I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. I think maybe just a little bit more favorable and give one less offensive weapon for Aaron Rodgers coming up here in the next few weeks too.
Just not Green Bay. I don't want it to be.
Please don't.
I won't. The reason why I'll say that is because we know what Rodgers can do and everything like that. But I don't want to see Odell on that team because I don't know if that's the greatest fit. I don't know if it is for some reason. I think it's Devontae or bust. It's just kind of how I look at it. But I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't fear the Packers as much. I mean, with the Vikings right now, I don't see the Vikings beating the Packers when they take them on soon. Yeah, just not the Packers. Or the Aints, just because I hate the Aints, and, we all know the deal with that. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
We go from one sweepstakes of a player into another one, this one being in the NHL. Finally free of Buffalo. Jack Eichel was traded earlier this past week to the Vegas Golden Knights, going from the outhouse to the penthouse this time, with Jack Eichel going out west to the desert in Vegas as well. Of course, that this being a long, drawn-out battle with Jack Eichel, unfortunately not being able to play and finish off his tenure with Buffalo, the team that drafted him into the league. And there has been some back and forth a little bit and some unsavory conversations between management for Buffalo and for Eichel, too, citing, of course, his concerns about getting an artificial disc replacement surgery rather than having a fusion surgery that Buffalo's medical staff said that they wanted in order for him to be able to return a lot sooner for the team too. So obviously a lot of back and forth about who thinks that the health of the player is more important as opposed to getting the guy back out on the ice too. Now looking at the situation going from Buffalo to Vegas for Jack Eichel, absurd or approved, will he put 20 pucks into the net this season for Vegas now that he's out of Buffalo going into this season too?
I think it's been a long time coming for him to get out of Buffalo with that. And then also I think I look at this situation too and think, well, what about the Wild? I thought the Wild were going to go. They needed this another guy on there. But there's some issues with him and within the locker room. So we've been hearing murmurs and things like that. But with Vegas, I think I think it's definitely possible. He's still coming off a pretty serious injury now. And obviously with the Sabres and everything, it was just a mess in general. It seems, they acquired Eichel, a third-round draft pick for center Peyton Krebs, and Alex Tuck, former Wild guy as well. So I think Tuck will play well. he sure does against the Wild, apparently. Surprised to hear that. But, I think he can. I think in a different setting, I think that's going to help him. But also, you don't want to have that reputation of being a pain in the ass in the locker room, right? So hopefully it doesn't come to that. But I think a change of scenery sometimes changes people too. So I can see him do well in Vegas, but he's a good talent. He's very good. But to answer your question, yeah, I'll give him my stamp of approval. I think he can. I just think, let's see what happens. Him coming off that surgery, if he's got fresh legs and if he's able to keep up. So, yeah, I'll give it my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to do him a lot of good. Obviously, getting him back out on the ice is going to be a huge thing. He was drafted in 2015, so he's still got a good handful of years left in his legs, too, especially now being in the same division as the guy that he was drafted behind, and Connor McDavid for Edmonton, and that guy's, scoring goals for the century as well. Putting him in that situation in Vegas, I think it's going to help him. It's going to open up a lot more opportunities because now a lot of guys are going to be keying in on Eichel, or who knows, maybe it'll back him up to open up a lot more opportunities because everybody's going to be overcompensating some of the other players that he's going to be trying to set up too. And, getting him out of Buffalo, especially after, the last couple of seasons where the team was going nowhere. They had changes in coaching, changes in management. Everybody's focusing on the Buffalo Bills. No one gives two farts about the Buffalo Sabres. He even cited that too, that, he grew up in New England. He was a Tom Brady and Patriots fan, and obviously in the same division as Buffalo. That isn't exactly going to fly very well in Buffalo. Well, now he even cited saying, hey, he's a big Derek Carr fan. He'll root for the Vegas Raiders too. And, already winning over the locals. I think 20 goals is a very, very good mark to have him at. Who knows? Maybe it'll do more. Maybe it'll help get Vegas in the Stanley Cup final this year. We'll see what happens with that.
Not as good as that guy, though. Not as good as Cup.
Not as good.
Not as good. Well, we'll put it like that.
But hey, good for Jack Eichel.
Good for Jack, yeah.
For him.
Yeah, I'm kind of... To be honest, I think you and I both were kind of sick of seeing this. Oh, is he going to be traded? It's just like...
Who knows? Maybe I have to put Eichel number 9 on that blank Vegas jersey I got hanging in my closet right now. We'll see.
I think that's a very strong possibility. Or probability. Either one of the two. All right, last one. Voldy.
Yeah, this one, a very nice story here. A very interesting story as UConn Huskies stud player, of course, out of the great state of Minnesota, Paige Buckets, a.k.a., has landed her name, image, and likeness for an endorsement deal, multi-year partnership with the footwear and apparel marketplace platform StockX. Now, when I first saw this, I thought maybe she was getting into the crypto game or something like that with a company named like StockX as the reigning player of the year. And in fact, I didn't even know she was the first freshman woman to win the award since it came out in 1976. So kudos to Paige on that. Obviously, trying to lend her voice and obviously her name, image, and likeness to a brand to help, help expand a little bit to more of the priority for making sure women and women's athletes are, obviously elevated and recognized for their style and also their leadership, as she was quoted as saying in the partnership with StockX is too. Obviously getting a little bit of money on the side is very helpful, but is it absurd to approve the deal to become the face of StockX for Paige Buckers?
Yeah, stamp of approval. I don't see any issue with it. The only issue I have is I wish she went to the University of Minnesota. That's,
a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. Lindsay Whalen, what happened? No, but the image and likeness, I think she's going to lead by example, and, she's a heck of a player. And because she's a sophomore now, right, for UConn?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sophomore. Mm-hmm. Wow. Gosh, time's flying by. Because she was just here in Minnesota. I mean, not too long ago in Minnesota, just putting up points like crazy.
Just literally out of nowhere, she was player of the year after literally not even hearing of her until she was a stud her senior year.
Insane. But
Crazy.
We're happy for her and everything like that. I think she's gonna, she'll make some money. She'll make a good chunk of money, and doing the face too, I think, is a big thing as well. It's an interesting it's an interesting company too. I don't really know too much about it. You mentioned it here. Her first photo shoot, she rotated between items of Nike, New Balance, Essential line from Adidas, Associated, Jerry Lorenzo, and the OVO, Drizzy Drake, OVO clothing line from Nike and Jordan Brand Associated, Drake. So, yeah, I think she's going to be making lots of money, so we give her credit for that. And again, one of us, Minnesota, love it. Voldy. Stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's got my stamp of approval. I think StockX got themselves, they hooked the big fish with this one. Just the numbers themselves. Different kind of numbers we're looking at. 914,000 followers on Instagram. 341,000 followers on TikTok as well for Paige Buckers. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, and I think a lot more people are going to be buying into the StockX brand a little bit more too. So this has obviously got my stamp of approval as well.
Yep, stamp of approval all around. And who knows? Maybe the Lynx will be able to draft her. I don't know.
Who knows?
We want it to happen. We keep our fingers crossed, but. Good for Paige Buckets, and we wish her great season.
You gotta do the old tank for Teddy for this one, or tank for Trevor. The Links do.
For this, yes, I will give us.
What would the hashtag be for tanking for Butkers or bust or something like that?
Yes, that's great. I like that. Butkers or bust.
Hashtag it. You heard it here first, folks.
All right. Well, make sure whenever we get an update, we're putting that hashtag. So. Anyway, great job with ARA Voldy. We made it through. The Zoners did as well. But Voldy, finally, it's been too long. Shield shoutouts. We have a ton of Shield shoutouts to get through, but they're great nonetheless. I can't wait to get into it. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, it's been a while. It's finally come. So, Voldy, who you shouting out tonight?
Anybody and everybody pretty much here with Shield shoutouts this week, because it's been almost a month since we've done Shield shoutouts. We got to start at the very top. Couple loyal zoners and also brand new parents. Congratulations to the Stuffages, Nate and Sam, on the birth of their first child. Ruth, congratulations from one parent to another. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Stuffage, now Mama and Papa Stuffage as well. So hopefully Ruth has been a bundle of joy here since coming into this world. I do want to give a congratulations to another loyal zoner and friend of the brand, Granite City Lumberjacks head coach and loyal zoner, my brother, DJ Vold, on collecting his 100th career victory. Well, now a couple of weeks ago in a win over the New Ulm Steel for the Lumberjacks. So congratulations to DJ. Hopefully we can get him on the show again sometime soon. Congratulations as well, scoring first NHL goal in his career, Brandon Duhaime, and a win against the Anaheim Ducks, which was a couple weeks ago. You're going to sense a common theme here as we go further down on the list. Shield shout-out goes out to former Boston Bruin, former Minnesota Wild, and current Seattle Kraken forward Ryan Donato, becoming the very first goal scorer in Seattle Kraken history to open up the season a few weeks ago. Congratulations as well, a couple weeks ago, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. on throwing career touchdown number 600 in a win over the Chicago Bears as well, and the whole shenanigans that went along with getting the football. Obviously, they got the football back, but also paying out the guy that ended up getting the football from Mike Evans. So big shout out to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Got a couple retirements to make note of as well. Happy retirement to former Red Sox pitcher Daisuke Matsuzaka, who announced his retirement from professional baseball. He'd been pitching in Japan for quite some time. Was a huge sensation when he came into the league in 2007 by throwing the gyro ball and helped the Red Sox win the World Series in 2007 in the process. I got to give also a huge Shield shout out in happy retirement to former New England Patriots wide receiver, NFL wide receiver, and lacrosse player Chris Hogan, who announced his retirement after being put on the IR by the New Orleans Saints. Also did win 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots and played in the Premier Lacrosse League before coming back to football this season with the Saints and trying to make his way back in the league. But, injuries ultimately get the best of everybody. Do got to give also a happy retirement to longtime NHL goalie Curtis McElhaney, who was announced his retirement after from playing on October 7th. So that's how long it's been since we've had Shield shoutouts. A little over a month's time. Did win a Stanley Cup with Tampa Bay in the Edmonton bubble in 2020 and promptly announced his retirement at the beginning of this season. The only time we'll probably ever give a Shield shout out to the Washington football team is they announced their retirement of Sean Taylor's number and actually did retire the number in the most weirdest of all circumstances. We won't get into that. That's a story for another time. Congratulations to the Byron Bears boys and girls soccer teams winning the Section 1 AA titles and also making it to state this year. Good for those 2 teams in my alma mater high school. And with the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series, a few Shield shout-outs got to go by the way of Byron, Minnesota, as well as a former Byron Bear and former Minnesota Twins intern, Mitch George, one of my good buddies from back home, as he works in the communications department for the Braves, will be a part of that World Series team as in the part of the likes of working in that communications department. Got to give a Shield shout out to the bad bitch himself, Jock Peterson, winning back-to-back World Series titles. Obviously, he won last year with the Los Angeles Dodgers and now this year with the Atlanta Braves. Former Twin Eddie Rosario for obviously continuing on with the curse of Minnesota by winning a World Series title. Pablo Sandoval is going to get another World Series ring for playing in 69 games this season. Nice. In a World Series ring regardless for him. And third base coach Ron Washington, who has been always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but 50 years in baseball, now can finally call himself a World Series champion. Ron Washington, third base coach, and a little bit of the fielding instructor as well for the Atlanta Braves. And we also got to give a Shield shout out to, and rest in peace, unfortunately, Red Sox broadcaster, former player Jerry Remy, who did pass away over the weekend from his longtime battle against cancer. The Rem Dog did pass away over the weekend. A big thank you to Carl Haskamp from the Cuyuna Fire Department for the patches. If I had, better opportunity, I would show them off a little bit. You can follow me on the socials media for that too. And we also got to finish off Shield shoutouts this week with also a happy early birthday to the Merch Maestro himself, Jimbo.
Yeah.
Going to be celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well for Veterans Day, and a big happy Veterans Day to all. And for those who have served as well, thank you for your service. That is going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good to have Shield shout-outs back.
Gracious.
That was just so much that you need a sip of water and everything like that. But Voldy, we've been waiting for it. We got it. Maybe it'll take. It won't be as long as next week. Well, we'll see. But it was great.
I would certainly hope so.
Just for the sake of your voice, apparently. But
yeah.
no, it's fantastic. Great job as always, Voldy, on that. But couple things. We have hats. We have hats now. Woo! Yes, like you said, the birthday boy for tomorrow, or Jimbo, has confirmed that they are in. $20, I believe, $5 shipping, or am I off on that?
No, we're going to do $20, $5 shipping, and you know what? Definitely get yourself one. They are pretty neat.
We'll have to show you the photos of them. They look fantastic. I can't wait to get my hands on one, that's for sure. But if you're thinking, well, I kind of want something to go with the hat, well, we've got none other than MinneZona shirts. Get
Boom.
same, and again, pretty much same price. $20, $5 shipping. Talk to me, talk to Voldy, talk to Curve, talk to Jimbo. We'll get you set up with these bad boys. They look sick. So, anyway, 5 out of 5 stars. Everything's pretty much 5 out of 5 stars for MinneZona. And it's been a while and everything like that. But we are working on getting another order of these bad boys. The MinneZona sweatshirts. They're fantastic. It's perfect for winter, perfect for fall and whatnot. So we will be working on that as well. And then also we've got stickers.
Chief.
$2 for the small ones, $3 for the big ones. If you get any MinneZona merch, it helps us keep the show on the socials medias. Pays for the internet service and all that. But obviously the internet service is a different deal with media, but that's a whole different thing. But it helps us. Help us help you. Help us help you. Help us help you. You know, all that fun stuff. Check those stickers out. They're fantastic. And also we're doing the sticker giveaway prize week for the pick'em. Make sure you make your picks. So we'll go from there. But thank you to National Fleet Graphic. Thank you to Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson, for the stickers as well. So make sure you get some MinneZona stickers, merch, all that fun stuff. And then check out W2 Performance, Will Rattel at www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check out Rattel's stuff as well. He's doing a fantastic job. And check out Jack's Junkyard, now with Apparel. Make sure you check out Jack's show, Jack O'Keefe. And then Breaking Into the League with Sam Gabrielli and Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So a lot of fun stuff coming our way. Voldy, we made it. We made it.
We did.
We did it. We got it done. No, I know it cut us off last week, but we're back. We're fine. We're good to go. So
I was worried at the beginning there when I kind of lost myself for
that was weird,
30 seconds.
Yeah, because when I saw that, and then I was like, well, everything's hooked up right. Everything's good. Something freaky just happened. I don't know. It's just.
I'll take the loss on that one. That one was on me.
Hey, we fought through it. That's all that there is to it. So we're good. We're good. So anyway, thank you, Voldy, again, for every ARA, Voldy's Virtues, Shield Shoutouts, and all that. And then the Zoners. Thank you to the Zoners for tuning in. We've always had a fun time with you guys chiming in as well. So as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.